Alright guys, so welcome back to a brand new video, or actually a brand new video series. So in this series we're going to basically be going to build a Discord bot with MongoDB. We're not going to build a specific Discord bot, but the whole point of this tutorial is to help you guys get started with using MongoDB. This is actually a very long requested tutorial series that I kind of slept on, but I decided now would be a good time to get started with this. It's never too late. But anyways, so before we even get started on coding anything, I want to obviously explain to you guys what exactly is MongoDB for those who are just watching this and aren't too sure what MongoDB is but want to learn about it. Basically, MongoDB is a database engine. Now, you're probably familiar with a database engine such as MySQL or PostgreSQL. MongoDB, however, is a NoSQL database. Okay, which I think NoSQL stands for not only SQL. So basically, if you're familiar with SQL or relational databases, they structure all their records using tables and rows. However, in a database engine like MongoDB, they structure all of their data. They consider it JSON-like. You can say it's JSON, but it's not really JSON. It's JSON-like. But, I mean, essentially, you can think of it as JSON. So, for example, a database in MongoDB would have a document, or it would have a collection. And the collection, you can think of collections such as tables. And then inside the collection, you have documents, which each document is its individual record. And in each document, you would look at it from a top level view, and you would see that it's actually literally just all of your data in a JSON-like format. So over the course, we will look into how MongoDB works, but I'm not really going to. This isn't really a MongoDB tutorial. This is a tutorial for those who already know MongoDB and want to actually apply MongoDB with Discord.js. But even if you don't know MongoDB, following along with this tutorial should be more than enough. Like, if you're already familiar with databases, it shouldn't be too hard to follow along. At least I hope for you guys. But I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. So for this tutorial, what you need to understand is you want to make sure you already know how to program and already know how to make a simple Discord bot. You want to be familiar with a database at least, so you can either read up the documentation or find a MongoDB tutorial. And you also want to obviously make sure you're using the right environment. We're going to be using Node.js. Anyways, I don't want to waste too much time talking, so let's go ahead and get started with the project. So I have a terminal open over here, and I have a folder, and inside this folder, all we have so far is a package.json file. So nothing special. So what we need to do is we need to install our dependencies. So my package manager that I'm using is Yarn. So I'm just going to use Yarn to install it. But if you're using npm, you can use obviously npm. So we're basically, also, if you guys don't know how to get the package.json file, you want to make sure you just run Yarn or npm. In my case, since I'm using Yarn, I do yarn init-y, or you can do npm init-y. Doesn't matter. Alright, so we're going to do Yarn, since I'm already using Yarn, add discord.js. So this is going to be the Discord.js library. I'm going to also install .env, because we're going to be using that for environment variables. And then we're going to also install an ORM, which stands for Object Relational Mapper, or mapping. But basically, you want to use ORMs because you don't really want to focus so much on writing raw queries, because doing that might actually prone you to writing, or not writing, but exposing your application to injections. So typically using an ORM is probably the best case scenario. They do have direct drivers where you can use to actually write the queries, the raw queries, but we're going to use Mongoose, which is very easy to use. So yarn add mongoose. Okay, there we go. And I won't be using TypeScript for this tutorial, so I'll just leave it to you guys. If you guys want to use TypeScript, it's not really that difficult to follow along with using TypeScript. But yeah, so we have all of our dependencies, and we're gonna go ahead and create a source folder, create the index.js file, and I'm gonna set up some scripts. So let's just do scripts. We're gonna set up a start script. So this is just going to run the index.js file inside the source folder. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can actually see. I have a bad habit of forgetting to zoom in for you guys. So we're going to set up a dev script. So for the dev script, we're going to be using the nodemon program. And it's literally just going to run the same file, but instead it's going to use nodemon. So basically nodemon will restart the entire application every single time you make a change. So without needing to actually manually restart it. I will install nodemon as a dev dependency. So when you guys pull this code from GitHub, you guys can easily just run yarn install or npm install, and it will install everything for you. You can see we have nodemon. If we look at the .bin folder, you can see we have nodemon, the local binary, which is good. So if you don't have nodemon installed globally, then it'll work locally as long as you install all dependencies. But I have it installed globally, so it's not really going to matter too much. Anyways, so we have our scripts set up. We have all of our dependencies. The next thing that we want to do is we probably want to set up our .env file for environment variables. So the only environment variable I'll need, or the only environment variables we'll need, are the bot token. We'll also put in the MongoDB URI, and I think that should probably be it. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now the next step is we obviously want to get our Discord bot up and running, and we're going to do that real quick, so give me 1 second. Alright, so I have some code already, but this is just some simple code. If you've ever used Discord.js, you should already know what all this does, but I'll explain it one by one, don't worry. But basically, what we're going to do is we're going to go inside the .env file, and I actually needed to change the environment variable from bot_token to Discord_bot_token. The reason why is because on my operating system, I already have an environment variable called bot_token, and the .env package will not override those like actual operating system variables. So if you already have environment variables already on your operating system, those will not be overridden. So you need to change the name. So we're gonna do that, which we already did that already. So let me get my bot token, and let me go ahead and paste that over here. There we go. We'll leave the MongoDB URI alone for just a second. So let's go inside our index.js file. So basically on line 1, if you've used .env before, all this is doing is it's importing the package, and we're calling the .config function. Lines 2 and 3, we're importing Discord.js, and on line 3, we are creating an instance of the client class that we imported. So doing that will allow us to reference methods and properties of the client. All we want to do on line 5 is log the bot in. And since we already loaded all of our environment variables by calling the config function, if you don't do this, the environment variable will not work. Okay, they'll be null. So on line 5, we can reference our environment variables by referencing the global process object and referencing the .env property. And we basically just want to reference the name of the environment variable exactly the way that we had left it in the .env file. So Discord_bot_token, we reference it like this. Okay, and then on line 7, we just have a ready event listener. So if I go into my terminal, let's see. There we go. So yeah, so you can see that the bot has logged in, and there we go. So it works great. So now, how do we actually connect to the MongoDB database? Well, that's actually not going to be too difficult. So what we want to do is we want to basically import Mongoose, because that's the ORM that we're going to be using. So we'll do that over here at const mongoose equals require mongoose. Okay, and all we want to do is we just want to reference mongoose and then call the connect function, and we want to pass in the MongoDB URI. Okay, now before we actually do all of the connection, I should also obviously mention that you want to make sure that you have MongoDB installed. So if you don't know where to install MongoDB, it's actually fairly simple. what you want to do is you want to go over to the mongodb.com website, and you want to click on software and click on community server, and you just want to download it for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm on Windows, so I'm going to obviously download for Windows. If you're using Linux, it's actually very easy to install MongoDB. Just use whatever package manager you have on your operating system. You can also install it on Mac using, I think, what was it called again? Homebrew? Or not Homebrew? Brew? Or I think they're the same thing. Homebrew and Brew. Anyways, but yeah. So, okay, so obviously I already have MongoDB installed. I'm going to also show you an alternative way to get MongoDB to work. What you can do is you can actually use Docker. So if you don't want to install the entire MongoDB server on your system, you can actually use Docker, which basically, if you don't know what Docker is, we're not going to go super in depth into it. Long story short, Docker containerizes your applications, so you can actually use MongoDB as a you can basically containerize your MongoDB server, so it will not be installed on your entire operating system. It will just be installed in one of the Docker containers, and you can easily connect to it. I'm not going to do that in this video. I already have MongoDB installed already. So for the sake of the tutorial, I suggest you guys to install the server on your entire operating system. But if you are familiar with Docker, or if you want to learn more about it, and if you can't seem to get it to work, or if you can't seem to get the original server to work on your operating system, then you might want to consider using Docker. That might be a good way to do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do anything with Docker in this video, don't worry. I just wanted to mention that for those who aren't too sure about what, other options you have. Other options you have also, you can also get, I think, MongoDB Atlas, which I think they have a free tier. And yeah, you can do that. You can also use Heroku as well to connect to a MongoDB database, so a remote database rather than local. We'll be connecting to a local database, but I just figured I would mention that. So assuming that you guys already have MongoDB installed, to connect to it, all you want to do is you want to simply do mongoose.connect, and you want to pass in the MongoDB URI. So we're going to reference the MongoDB URI environment variable, but we're going to go over here and we're going to enter the URI here just so we can keep things consistent. So to get the URI, it's simply MongoDB : / So to connect locally, we type localhost. Now the default port for MongoDB is 27017 unless during the installation you changed it. So if you actually want to, you can provide the port manually like this. So this is the host, : and then the port. But if you leave the port out like that, it'll assume it's using the default one, which is fine. And then after that, you want to put a /, and then you want to provide the database name. So I'll just do MongoDB, let's see, Discord.js. I think that should be okay for URI. Now, if you have authentication set up on your MongoDB remote server or even your local server, there's a different way to connect to it. I'm not going to do that in this video, but if you guys need help with that, just simply Google MongoDB, connect to MongoDB with username and password, URI, and you should be able to find some results. If you need help with that, just join my Discord server and someone will be able to help you out with it. Okay? Anyways, so yeah, so this will be the URI, and we actually haven't created our database yet, but by default MongoDB will actually do that for us manually. So we don't even have to worry about that right now. So that's why MongoDB is actually a little bit more lenient. So let's leave this alone. And now, if we save this, let's see. So right now, we aren't getting any errors. We are getting a deprecation warning. So it's saying to fix the deprecation warning, so let's just do that. So use new URL parser. We'll just set this to true. And then use unified topology set to true. So that'll get rid of the warnings if you guys are afraid of those. But yeah, just telling you that some things are deprecated. Okay, so this is fine. So we're connected to our database. Congratulations. So if you have gone through this entire tutorial, then congratulations. You've done pretty much all of the hard work of setting up the entire thing. Like I said, make sure you install MongoDB, make sure you install all of your dependencies, and that's pretty much it. So far, all we've done was we have connected successfully to, well, first of all, we've logged our Discord bot in, and second, we have successfully connected to our MongoDB database. So we can also do this. So let's just do, let's see, connected to DB, and let's just do a catch in case it never happens. I don't even know if it has an error. Okay, so connected to DB. So let's just say if I put in an invalid URI, let's see what happens. So you can see that it says it throws an error. Okay, so this is also a way where what you can do to pretty much connect to the database. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this tutorial didn't take too long. The rest of the tutorial shouldn't take long as well. We'll be doing a lot, so I have a lot planned for the series. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you guys enjoyed this video, please definitely leave a thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe. It really does help out the channel a lot. And definitely check out my Discord server. I'll leave a link down below so you guys can use that to get help and chat with other people. And that's going to be pretty much it. So I will see you guys in the next MongoDB tutorial. Peace out.